what this structure actually is. Okay, now I said that this structure is more congruent with what's going on with the true tree and jewel, and it is because it shows two-way motion. But there's one thing I want to point out. See, the mistake I made with this versus this, because this is divinely perfect. I'm not taking away from this at all. This is divinely perfect, and this turns into the infinite web of fractality that I made a video about. But what this does, I have a video on the Kabbalistic kill stroke. It shows how the true tree and the jewel transform to form this structure here, 3 interconnected rings, okay? And these black lines show the demarc point of that. You have the hexagonal shape here, you have the hexagonal shape up here, and then in the middle, these two worlds in the middle are incomplete, untransformed worlds. But when you transform them, it turns into this. And when it transforms into this, there is no spheres in the middle of these. See, I just added those spheres in the middle because I just felt like it would be cool to do that, and it fits in with the flower of life pattern if you do that. But when the tree and jewel transform into this, there are no spheres in the middle of any of these. I just added those, and it just turns out it produces something that's amazing. But as far as the tree and jewel are concerned, there is no spheres here. So now what you do is, and the beauty of this structure is, it acknowledges 0 in the construction of it, but then when the construct is finished, 0 disappears, okay? So what you do, and this could probably actually start from the bottom to the top, but in this case I started from the top down, but it really doesn't matter, as you'll see in a minute. Okay, what you do is you acknowledge 0, okay? You acknowledge 0 here, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you go back up. You go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and that 0 gets filled in by the 18, which reduces to 9. Okay, so now the 0 disappears with the only number that has the right to take the place of 0, which is 9, and it forms a closed, completed construct. But the beauty of this is, this shows two-way action, and it's completely mirrored on its reverse construct. It's the same thing. It's basically the same thing both ways, because what happens is on this side you see the 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. Well, when you reduce this, 10 becomes 1, 11 becomes 2. You got the 13 and 14, which reduce to 4 and 5. And then you have the 16 and 17, which reduce to 7 and 8. So this 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 is the same here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 on this side. And then the 3s and the 6s counterbalance themselves in the 3, 6 spheres. You got 3 here, and then the 15 becomes 6. And you got the 6 here, and the 12 becomes 3, which is amazing. Now, one other point that's pretty amazing with this too is, and you're going to see that like these two spheres here, when they join together, become 3. These two spheres, when they join, become 9, and these two, when joined, become 6. And you see, of course, 3, 9, 6. Well, the beauty of this is, now we have to start getting away from the idea of pillars, because the pillars are fine for the tree of life constructs, because it's fine for that. But now we're getting into spirals here. So on the bottom, I have a habit of writing what the totals reduce to when you add the numbers up. And I did that again here, but I kept it simple here for a lot of reasons. And I only used the reduced forms, except for the 6336, because again, in the middle here, these middle spheres, when you add them up in the unreduced form, it becomes 63. And then when you add them up in the reduced form, it becomes 36. And we see that same thing here on the universal tree of divine perfection. But the same thing happens on, I could call this the chains of Olympus, just to give it a name for now. We're seeing the same thing. When you add it up and it's non-reduced, you get 63. When you add it up and it's reduced, you get 36 in the middle here. Now, the other pillars, if you want to call them pillars, when you add them in the reduced form, obviously it's 3, 9, 6, and that becomes 18. Same thing here, 3, 9, 6, which becomes 18. But you have to kind of get away from the notion of pillars on this, because this isn't a pillar form, it's spirals now. So, but it's the same thing either way when you use reduced numbers. So now we got 3 spirals to 9, then spirals to 6, and then it goes to 3 spirals to 9 and spirals to 6. So the 18 is the same no matter how you do it. That's why I kept only the reduced forms here. But now the beauty of that is you got to 36 in the middle. When you add 18 and 18, that gives you 36. And 36 plus 36 is 72. So this construct is showing in its reduced forms 72, and we know how powerful that number is already.